definition of what a backup plan is, and that's why your definition is going to make the number, of course, skyrocket, because your definition of backup plan is really basic. My definition of backup plan is major. So I think that's why the numbers are differing. If you're saying a backup plan is just some guy to come over and smash, then of course it's 99% of women.
But you're talking about yourself. So you're talking about yourself in that you don't believe in it. Do you know married women who talk to other men? See, just that hesitation right there lets you know that shit that you talking, you already on bullshit already, because you not being honest with yourself. Most women know other women that they talk to. Y'all get a call, girl, I'm going through it with him, this and that. Y'all start going to the gym. You see Valrico over there, you know what I'm saying, trying to help you out, spotting you and shit for the weights and shit. Then you like, you know, I'm married and shit, but you can follow me on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? I got a Facebook. All that type of shit. This is putting in the motion of a backup plan. It doesn't mean that you having sex with them or this and that. And I tell women this all the time, because if you have a social media, at the end of the day, if your man was to open your social media, not your phone, just your social media, we would run into some shit that you be like, well, I just didn't give a fuck about that, or I didn't respond to that type of shit. But you can. Because if the shoe was on the other foot and you saw that shit in our shit, you would feel a certain type of way. Now, it's like a backup plan to me is like an emergency glass, just in case the shit get broke and everything go into play. And also, women use backup plans to me is, there's men that women have, bring them food, fix their cars, fix their house, all this type of shit. These are all motherfuckers that sitting there waiting, whether you believe that shit or not. Everyone be like looking and crazy and shit like, but I don't like him. I didn't ask you if you liked him. The question is, do you use him? Then we come into a good area of it.
But I wouldn't call someone that I'm using,
of course,
a backup plan though. To me, that okay.
But
even in movies, even though
the other person would beg to differ.
Even in movies, when there's all this building suspense about carrying out Plan A and Plan A fails, the whole theater is moved by the line Plan B. Because you're shocked that there's a Plan B, and you're hoping that Plan B will be just as good as Plan A, because you're going to get to the goal. If my goal is marriage, then my backup plan has to be an alternative marriage for it to make sense to be called a backup plan.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. No, if the goal is to save the princess, let me talk video game, because I think that's what most men understand.
But we're talking about women, so it doesn't matter whether the men understand it or not. We're talking about them lying ass women out here that's sitting there talking about they don't have a backup plan, so it won't have nothing to do with no men.
It has a lot to do with men, because
clear.
It has a lot to do with men, because you guys have this narrative about this whole backup thing that I think is doing a disservice because of what I said. You're to even have the statement out there and to create that narrative, I think is dangerous, because it's not true. I think it's okay for you to have that opinion, but don't use the term backup plan.
Okay.
Because that's not Plan B. Plan B is not, okay, I'm not getting married anymore, so let me just call up the guy who hangs pictures on my wall and paints and fixes my car, because that's Plan B. That does not sound like a Plan B. That sounds like, damn, my man is gone. I need some manpower around this motherfucker. Let me use him to do it until I find Plan B to replace what my man gave me. Just having some sidekick or some guy you use is not a backup plan. But if that's what y'all are calling it, and then creating that narrative, then you're roped women into, just because they got some guy, a handyman, that they're hoes. Because that's what I think of when I join a podcast and I'm watching and they're saying 99% of women have a backup plan. I'm thinking, okay, so this is a show about a lot of hoes that's got a lot of dudes in in their inbox, is having a lot of conversations, and have a lot of backup situations. That's the narrative. It's not the narrative, well, if he leaves, she just calls over somebody to take out the trash. That's not what we're talking about here.
Nah, that ain't what I'm talking about either. But you still didn't answer the question. Do you have homegirls that's married that talk to other men?
You know what? Whenever I have a good
answer
point,
the question.
you got to go back to a point that you already made.
Miss Lassiter.
You don't get a dun because you've already said that.
Miss Lassiter, it's like a simple yes or no.
God.
Like this, like in a court of law, you wouldn't even be able to explain this. It's like yes or no. Miss Lassiter, do you have female friends that are married that talk to other guys? See the silence? But these are lies that I'm talking about. These are the narratives.
I didn't lie. This doesn't say anything.
But if you was 100% confident, you would sit there and say no with a straight face. That's like basically just asking me.
I could say that if I were talking about myself.
But I ask you, do you have friends? So friends, married, do they talk to other guys? Not their husband. Other guys.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, this is how the backup plan comes into motion. Because at the end of the day, they are married. But marriage isn't everything that is meant to be for everybody. When people are younger, especially women, they're rushing to get down to the aisle. Even if you look at the percentages of the divorce rate, it ain't men that's fucking filing for divorce. It's women. And because it's women, what you think women filing for divorce and they just like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life by myself? No. See, when that file of divorce come into play, there's another person on the other end because they already like, well, I'm finna file for divorce.
I mean, that depends on how long they've been separated. People be separated for like 4 years, so duh. It's not like they separate. I've been separated for 6 months and I'm about to call my backup guy. That's not how it works.
I know, because I'm gonna tell you how it works. So, really, at the end of the day, like I've had homegirls that I know personally that are married, and they said that and have told me out of their own mouth, this is a female, like. There was this guy I was fucking with in high school. We talked from time to time. We've stayed in contact for over the years. So guess who she's trying to get with after the fact, after introducing her husband to this motherfucker? This is my friend from college. This is my friend that y'all so buddy, have them all in my house and shit. But when the divorce papers come down, it's mighty how y'all go from friendship to relationship.